Dear student, in the previous lecture, I told you about the concept of electric field and how to find the electric field at a point due to a point charge. The next topic is electric field lines. In order to give a pictorial view for electric field, Michael Faraday introduced the concept of electric field lines. As you know, a picture speaks thousands of words. So to represent this electric field pictorially, this electric field lines concept is used. Basically, electric field line means it is a path along which a unit positive charge tends to move in an electric field. Say for example, there is some electric field here. If I keep a unit positive charge, if it accelerates or if it moves like this, then this path along which this unit positive charge is moving, it is called this electric field line. So basically, electric field line is nothing but it shows the path along which a unit positive charge moves in electric field. These electric field lines, they can be straight lines or they can also be curved. And we shall draw the electric field lines due to different charge configurations. If I take a unit positive charge here, if I take a positive charge here, like this is a point positive charge. Due to this point positive charge, there is an electric field. If I keep a unit positive charge here, due to repulsion between this positive charge and this unit positive charge, it tends to move away like this, along a straight line. So this is called electric field line. Similarly, these are the electric field lines due to this isolated positive charge. Similarly, if I take a isolated negative charge like this, there is an electric field surrounding this negative charge. In this electric field, if I keep a unit positive charge here, this unit positive charge tends to get attracted by this negative charge, therefore it moves along this path. So this becomes electric field line. Similarly, wherever you keep this unit positive charge, because of attraction, it tends to move towards the negative charge. Therefore, due to an independent negative point charge, electric field lines are directed towards the charge. So, we can mention these properties of electric field line. This question is important for the examination. It was asked many times in the annual examination for 2 marks or 3 marks. Mention the properties of electric field lines. So here, the first property is electric field lines for a point of positive charge, they start from the charge and end at infinity. Because in the previous class I told you that due to every charge, however small or large it may be, electric field exists up to infinity. Therefore, due to a point positive charge, electric field originates from the charge and ends at infinity. Similarly, due to an isolated negative charge, electric field starts from infinity and terminates on the negative charge. Therefore, the first property is that these electric field due to a point charge start or stop at infinity. Understand? Electric field lines due to a point charge, they start or stop at infinity, or they start or stop at infinity. That means due to a positive charge, they start from the point charge and end to infinity. Due to a negative charge, they start from infinity and end at the negative charge. So this is the first property. Next, if I consider a system of two unlike charges, so this is a positive charge, this is a negative charge. So here there is electric field due to the positive charge and also as well as negative charge. So if I keep a unit positive charge somewhere here, it tends to move like this, from positive charge to negative charge. So electric field line will be from positive charge to negative charge. Similarly, if I keep a unit positive charge here, it takes this path. So these are the electric field lines. For a system of unlike charges. Similarly, if I consider a system of like charges, so this is a positive charge, this is another positive charge, so there is a combined electric field due to both charges. So if I keep a unit positive charge in this combined electric field, it tends to move like this. Similarly, instead of positive charges, if I take two negative charges, you will get similar type of lines, but the difference is this arrow mark will be directed towards the charge for a system of two negative charges. And when this electric field line is curved, if I draw a tangent to this electric field line at any point, like this, it gives the direction of electric field at that particular point. What I mean to say is, the tangent drawn to electric field line at any point will give you the direction of electric field. As I told you in the previous lecture, here there is a combined electric field. Due to the positive charge, electric field is like this. Due to this negative charge, electric field is like this. So by using this parallelogram of law of vector addition, if I find the resultant of these two, obviously you get this direction. So this direction can also be obtained by considering the tangent drawn to this electric field line at this particular point. So this is the second property. The tangent drawn to an electric field line at any point will give you the direction of electric field at that particular point. The next property is that these electric field lines, they never form closed loops. Here you see, these are all open lines like this. Here also, the electric field line starts from the positive charge and stops at the negative charge. This is not a closed loop. So electric field lines, they do not form closed loops. The next property is that two electric field lines never intersect. So here, this is one electric field line, this is another electric field line. This type of intersection never happens, because always electric field at a point has got one particular value and one particular direction. So at any point in the electric field, electric intensity has some value and a particular direction. Suppose if two electric field lines intersect like this, then if I draw a tangent to this electric field line, this becomes the direction of electric field. If I draw a tangent to this electric field line, this becomes the direction of electric field. That means if two electric field lines intersect, means at a given point electric field has got two directions, which is practically impossible. So at a point electric field or electric intensity, it has got only one direction. So two electric field lines intersect means at the point of intersection electric field has got two directions, which is not possible. That is why two electric field lines never intersect. The next thing is, at a region where there is no electric field, there will be no field lines. At a region where there is no electric field, there will be no field lines. Here you see, if these two charges, their magnitude is equal, here the resultant electric field will become 0. This point where the resultant electric field is 0, it is called as null point. So there will be no electric field lines passing through this type of null points. And in a charge-free region, electric field lines, they form continuous lines. Here see, here there is no charge, therefore this line is continuous. So here charge is there, here charge is there, and there is no charge anywhere here. So in a charge-free region, electric field lines, they form continuous lines. The next thing is, in case of a charged conductor, here these are all point charges. Instead of point charges, if you consider charged conductor like this. So this is some charged conductor. Due to any charged conductor, electric field lines will be normal to the surface of this charged conductor like this. So always electric field lines, they will be normal to the surface of this charged conductor. So this field line is perpendicular to the surface, this field line is perpendicular here, this is perpendicular here, this is perpendicular here, like that. Had this been a negatively charged body, then also these field lines are normal to the surface, but the difference is the arrow mark will be directed towards the negatively charged body. So like that, for a charged conductor, electric field lines start or stop on the conductor. There will be no field lines inside. There will be no field lines inside, because you will come to know that there is no electric field inside a charged conductor. And these field lines will be always perpendicular to the surface of the charged conductor. So this is another property. The next thing is, here in case of unlike charges, there is a longitudinal contraction between these electric field lines. That means this field line tend to contract along its length, which represent that there is a force of attraction here. Similarly, in case of like charges, there is a lateral pressure, sidewise pressure will be there between these electric field lines. That shows that there is a force of repulsion. So, electric field lines tends to longitudinally contract in case of unlike charges. They exert lateral pressure in case of like charges. So, this is another important point. The next important point here is, next important property here is, the number of electric field lines passing normally through a given area is a measure of strength of electric field. So this is one important statement. Number of electric field lines passing normally through a given area, it is directly proportional to strength of electric field. Here you see around a charge there can be any number of lines. In an electric field, there can be any number of lines. There can be infinite number of lines. Suppose if I consider unit area here and if I consider unit area somewhere here, area is same. This area and this area is same. So through this area, number of lines passing through it will be more, and through this area, number of lines passing will be less. Since the number of lines passing normally through a given area is directly proportional to strength of electric field, here the field is said to be stronger and here the field is said to be weaker. I told you the same point in the last class also, E proportional to 1 by R square. Similarly, if there is some electric field represented like this, these are the electric field lines. If I consider unit area here, also if I consider unit area here, if the same number of lines are passing, then electric field here and here is said to be same, both in magnitude and direction. For that matter, everywhere here, the number of electric field lines passing normally through a given area is same. Therefore, this type of electric field is called as uniform electric field. So, electric field is said to be uniform if its magnitude is same everywhere and direction is also same. So, if the magnitude and direction of electric field is same everywhere, such type of electric field is called as uniform electric field. So, uniform electric field is represented by these type of parallel lines with equal spacing. So, these lines are parallel and the spacing is same. So, this is the representation of uniform electric field. Similarly, sometimes the electric field can also be shown like this. So, when the electric field is represented this way, if I consider unit area around this point and if I consider unit area around this point, you can see that the number of electric field lines of passing normally through this area, it is more than the number of electric field lines passing normally through this area. That means here at this point A, the electric field magnitude is more than the point B. So, you can understand that the reason where the electric field lines are crowded, the field is stronger. The reason where the electric field lines are wide apart, the field is weaker. That means the magnitude and direction of electric field is different at different points in this region. So, this is called as a non-uniform electric field. Understand? So, in non-uniform electric field, these electric field lines are not equally spaced. At a point where the field is stronger, the lines are crowded. At a point where the field is weaker, the lines are wide apart. So, pictorially, uniform electric field and a non-uniform electric field, they are represented like this. So, basically, you learned what is electric field line, how to represent this uniform and non-uniform electric fields, and the properties of these electric field lines. So, if this is asked in the examination, you mention 2 or 3 properties correctly. So, based on these points, some questions will be asked in the competitive examinations. So, you will be able to answer them provided you understand these properties correctly. The next concept is electric flux. See, number of electric field lines passing normally through unit area, it is directly proportional to electric intensity or strength of electric field. Here, I consider this point. This being uniform electric field, everywhere the strength of electric field is same. Around this point you consider some area, say delta S, small element of area delta S. In first year PUC you learned that a small element of area, it is a vector quantity. So this area, depending upon its shape, you will get the magnitude of area. That means if the area is in the form of a square, then it is a square. If the area is in the form of a circle of radius r, then it becomes pi r square. So this a square or this pi r square, that gives the magnitude of area. The direction of this area vector is always normal to this area, like this, represented as n cap. So small element of area, it is a vector. The direction of this area vector is normal to this area. So if there is electric field in this direction, perpendicular to this area, perpendicular to this electric field, if you consider some area, there is an electric field passing through this area. So this flow of electric field passing through this area, it is represented as electric flux. So electric flux means it is the amount of electric field passing normally through unit area. Since the electric field is proportional to the number of electric field lines passing normally, so the number of electric field lines passing normally through this area, it is called as electric flux. So whatever electric field or whatever the number of lines passing through this area normally, it is called as electric flux. Through this small element of area, there will be a small amount of electric flux passing normally, represented as d phi. This electric flux at a point where electric intensity is E, surrounding an area ds, it is given by E delta S. E delta S. Understand, if you consider an area delta S surrounding a point where the electric intensity is E, then the electric flux to this area, it is given as E delta S. In case if the area vector is not along the direction of electric field, that means if this area is not perpendicular to the electric field, see, electric field is in this direction. And this area, this is the point where the electric field is E, and this area delta S is like this. The direction of this area vector n cap is like this. That means this area vector makes an angle. Area vector makes an angle theta with the direction of electric field. Then to find this electric flux, you have to consider the component of electric field along the direction of area vector. So component of E along this n cap, it is given by E cos theta. It is given by E cos theta. So you can write the expression for electric flux like this. If the electric field is normal to the area, if this electric field is normal to the area, or area vector is along the direction of electric field, because the direction of this area vector, it is always perpendicular to the area. Remember this. This is called the area. This direction is called direction of area vector. So this area is perpendicular to the electric field, means the direction of area vector is along the direction of electric field. When the amount of electric flux passing normally through this area, it is given by this equation. In case if the electric field makes an angle theta with the direction of area vector, then you have to consider the component of electric field along the direction of area vector, that is E cos theta, and the flux is given by E cos theta ds. So here the electric field is a vector, this area vector is also a vector, therefore this can be written as a dot product of E and delta S. So dot product is always a scalar. That means the electric flux, it is a scalar quantity. Electric flux is a scalar quantity. And what is the unit of this electric flux? This electric field is nothing but force per unit charge, that is Newton per Coulomb. And this area is meter square. Therefore the unit is Newton meter square per Coulomb. You write the dimensional formula for this. So this is the expression for electric flux through a small element of area ds surrounding a point where the electric field is E. See, instead of considering a small element of area delta S, if I consider a large area, so here this is a closed surface enclosing some charge here. There is a closed surface enclosing some charge. So due to this charge, there is some electric field like this. So if I consider a small element of area, through this area flux is this much. So here there is a charge here like this. Due to this positive charge, electric field lines are like this. So these electric field lines, they are passing through this closed surface. So through a small element of the area delta S, the electric flux is this much. If I want to find the total flux to this entire area, if I want to find total electric flux to this whole area, then what I have to do is, I have to divide this entire area into small number of elements like this. By using this formula, I find the flux through all these elements, and by making a summation of all these, I can get the total electric flux. So, total normal electric flux phi, this is equal to sigma delta phi, which is equal to sigma E dot delta S, like this. Sigma E dot delta S. Now, If I consider each element to be infinitesimally small, if I take infinitesimally small elements, then what happens? Smaller each element is, the number of elements becomes large. So each element is infinitesimally small means the summation will become an infinite summation. So infinite summation is nothing but integration. Therefore, sometimes the expression for this electric flux can also be written as integral E dot ds. You can write it like this. So in the integral form, you can write like this, and this area must be some closed area or open area, whatever it may be. So usually it must be a closed area. So phi is equal to integral E dot ds. This is the expression for total normal electric flux. We are going to use this expression for this electric flux, total normal electric flux, while studying Gauss theorem. While studying Gauss theorem and its applications, you come across this term. So you remember this term. So this is about electric field lines, properties of electric field lines, electric flux.